thanks for staying with us. So last week, the state government announced 261 days of rainfall. Also issued at the press conference is a potential flooding in some parts of the state. We had actually spoken with the special advisor to the governor on the state on drainage and water resources, Mr. Joe Igbokwe, on the phone. And unfortunately, we had connection issues, so we brought him here physically because it's important we get this information concerning their preparedness for the flood that is imminent. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Good to have you. Even dressed in this, your khaki. It's like you're ready for work.
I'm ready for work. You know, this is rainy season.
So
I'm delighted to be here.
Thanks for coming. Now, tell us about the 261 rays you're expecting, what the government has done so far to prepare the state for the flood and to clear those who are staying in the drainage-prone areas, the flood-prone areas, I mean.
Okay. First, we must not forget that Lagos is a coastal city.
Okay.
Yeah. And prone to sometimes massive rainfall. In Lagos, it's been a tradition to deal with our channels. We have the primary channels, we have the secondary channels, we have the tertiary channels. Tertiary channels is the one you have in front of your houses. And from tertiary channels, you now move to secondary channels, and then to primary channels, the big ones, and then into the lagoon, and then into the Atlantic Ocean.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's a way of life in Lagos. Okay. And we, in the Ministry of Environment, the biggest ministry, one of the biggest in Lagos, always prepare ourselves, you know. Every year we have NIMET. NIMET will come and Nigerian Meteorological Agency does what is called a routine checks and then report of what we're going to expect. And like you said, 234 to 361 days of rainfall in Lagos. Measuring the highest we can get, the maximum is about 1,747 millimeters. That's how the measurement, you know. And we also know that we have people living in low-lying areas, you know. You can have them, Owode, Waya, Makoko, Badia, Ijora, Ishalu, Wata, and Shibiri, you know. Then along this corridor, as a consequence of occasional release or systemic release from Oya Dam, Ogun, Oshun, River Basin Authority, you know, occasionally they release water from their dam. And once it's done, the whole of Agility, in some areas, those of them living their Agility, somewhere here, Agboiketu, and then of course, Itowolu and Ajegunle will be flooded, you know. And this is normal in Lagos. If you live in the low-lying areas, you should expect this. And then of course, you know, there's massive construction of residential areas in Lagos. And once you take up a place, water don't have the ability to, flood don't have the ability to sink into the soil. So it now goes to the roof. So you now have to collect those you know, water, you know, and then to the channels. And then, of course, we're having issues of having to build up areas. We don't even think about building channels. People go to build houses, march to get houses, to get homes. People rush and go and build before we start looking for where to put the drains. That's a major challenge. You see, I've been to Texas in some states in the United States. If you go there, they will build the roads, put the drains, put the gas pipes, water pipes, everything within schools, hospitals. The last set that will go there is just the human beings that will go and occupy that place. So everything would have been put in place. But yeah, sometimes
almost whispering.
you get these cities, you get the houses built, you know, without order, without any order.
All right.
And
let's get a few questions for you.
So I have now start having issues.
Yeah. So I was going to, when I heard you were coming, I said, every year we do this an annual visit where we talk about flooding. But I would like to know what the ministry is doing that is new, that has been introduced newly in combating this flood, since we understand that these things happen every time. What are we doing differently this time around?
I am the special advisor to the governor on drainage and water resources. And now one is, my area is all about drainage. Okay. you wouldn't know you have up to 400 secondary channels in Lagos.
Wow.
And close to 200 big channels, primary channels in Lagos. You maintain it the way you wash your clothing, the way you maintain your houses every year. Last year, we did 52, you align some of them, concrete alignments. Some are just, just original channels, it's God created them. But now you have to put channels, concrete alignment. It helps for easy flow of flood, and then, of course, maintenance. Maintenance is that you have to clean and clean and clean and clean all the time. So we have done 52 in areas of construction. We have done 52. We did 52 last year.
Okay.
Spanning a distance of about 30 kilometers. I mean,
out of 200, you done 52?
No, 52 we did. Well,
just making sure that we're sure the numbers.
Yes, done 52 last year.
Okay.
And then this year, we're looking at 56.
Okay.
We are doing 56. In fact, work has almost started. Okay. We're doing 56, spanning up to 46 kilometers. That's measurement.
Right.
1, 2, 3. Add them up the distance. Okay. You now get it. Then, of course, we dredge, cleaning. That one is a continuum. Once you enter rainy season, like on Saturday, I was in. We call them. They have names: System 1, System 2, System 3. I went to System 6. That System 6 is the longest, one of the longest in Lagos, up to 10, 11 kilometers. It passes through Roof, Lagos University Teaching Hospital.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So all the PET bottles and so many things you can find in Agege Motor Road, Mushi, goes into that drain. Wow. So if you take Swam Boogie to that place and you clean it today and it rains tomorrow, if you go back to that place, you won't believe it. You won't believe it.
Okay, all right, sir. So I know that the state government has advised people living in the lowlands to make plans to move. And they promised that they were going to tell them when they will need them to move just before the flooding comes. But there was no plan or there was no information on where they will be moving to. I don't know if the government has a plan where they can, maybe like a shelter where they can keep them for a bit, because these are people who have livelihoods around their area, so they have to leave it for a time. We don't know how long, to be somewhere else because of the flood. Is there anything the government is planning to do to help these people survive that bit?
That's what we call low-lying areas. And you're not supposed to be there in the first place. We talked about it the other day. You're not supposed to be there. So if you go there to go and...
Somebody gave them approval.
No, there's no approval. Some of them, they don't have approval. They just go and build.
Wow.
They just go and build.
I was thinking that
who will give you approval to go and build in a wetland?
Wetlands.
Wetlands. And then what do these wetlands do? When you have massive flooding, it starts as a holdback. Then when it starts, for sometimes water will flow back from the lagoon if it's too much. But at the time it begin to recede. It is those wetlands that will hold it. And then thereafter it's a normal thing. It's a normal thing. It's what we know. So it moves into the lagoon. And then you now have the grasses again, you see them. So they are reservoirs. They are retainers. So but people go there. They don't build better houses that they don't build Paco because they know it's not they just go there and there. But they're not supposed to be there in the first place.
So where they stay now doesn't matter. You just live there.
Just live there.
No, they themselves are not familiar with it. They have become conversant with them, with what they see every year. They get prepared.
So let me be sure I'm sure. So you're telling those who are living legally that they are living there illegally, move.
Move.
The flood is coming.
It's coming. We always
you're not going to stop them out. You're going to, all right, okay,
move.
So, sir, we know that Lagos is largely below sea level, and we understand that water would always come. You mentioned you were specific about the areas that were cleared last year. But this year, I noticed that you said work has started. It's a bit worrisome that work is starting when rain is starting. My expectation would have been that work would have ended before rain starts. So that would have cleared the place before the rain comes. That's number one.
Let him answer that question.
Number two, let me just put it together. Number two, it's a huge burden to put on the government to keep the environments clean. Wouldn't you think it would be cheaper to dedicate a lot of time to sensitize people to take ownership of the drainages, so that with or without your department, those massive drainages will get cleaned? We have the monthly sanitation. Wouldn't it be important to inculcate that culture in them, that they take ownership of cleaning by themselves without involving you?
Okay, two questions. Let me just deal with the first one. The first one, you said, we always wait for the rains to fall. No, we do our work every year. Every year, if you go out now, you will see our people. It's these people in yellow, we call them a FAG, Flood Abatement Gang. They walk in the metropolis, you know, the certain, preparing for the rains, you know. I say, you need to check our habit. We went to walk, my two was flooded, so we went there. There is what we call road drains, filled to the brim, plastics, everything. There's also outfalls, the one that will take it to that river. We call them outfalls, the drains. So we cleaned up the place. Got our boys clean up the place because we have resident engineers. Once it starts raining cat and dog, they'll have to go out. Like on Saturday, it rained cat and dog. I was in Lut, that's system 6, to check what is going on. We don't stay at home. You have to go and monitor. So we're always on our toes. So we finished that road drain, to make way for, because once water is number one enemy of roads. Once you allow water to be on the road for, it will just go. Once it's asphalt, it will just go. That's why we're going through concrete, because that one can, that's what is happening on Bagada,
Dia Street,
yes, concrete. That's what
I can testify.
They are sorting you people finally.
Using concrete
over 30 years.
So we returned after 1 week. The whole place was filled up again. We now started tracing the outfalls, the one that would take water from that road drains to the river there. We noticed that motor parks, canteens, they were sitting on top of those drains.
Can you imagine?
And we thought, they said, look, do you know that you are the one causing this massive flooding? We can't have a mind. They don't. They're ignorant of what is going on. Well, we got our boys to clean it up because there's nothing you can do.
So what's the repercussion on them when you find out that they're the ones? What do you do?
Two. You may have to jail everybody if you but actions carry consequences. Actions carry consequences. You know, we speak to them believing that people will get educated and get certain things done.
Might I suggest something?
Yeah. So because if you don't punish offenders, people's hearts are schemed to continue to do wrong. It's in the Bible. So we must find a way.
So might I suggest that maybe you involve them in community service of joining those, in clearing those drainages?
Yes, in Ghana, if you drop pet bottles, they will get you for hours. You'll be picking,
So when people know that,
you will never be able to do it again.
And so what are we doing to implement such?
It happened, and it's still happening. There was a man who is supposed to know better with full dose of Western education, you know. By 5 a.m., he loaded his boot. He was going to walk and dropped those things back
by the
roadside.
somebody caught him.
He was caught. And he
I
was.
need to ask you about your work with the...
I don't know whether I've answered the second question.
You have not answered the second question, sir. I should remind you, how is it not cheaper for you to dedicate a budget to educate people? So you go from, especially bus stops, those NURTW bus stops, they're usually filthy every day. So maybe if you tell them and you educate them, they would create a system within themselves to clean, thereby reducing your expense in...
Well, we have people like that. We have some bodies, children, schools. We bring them to teach them from the starting point, from the beginning, that we must be conscious of your environment. Look, the tertiary drains in front of our houses are supposed to be managed by local governments. They're supposed to manage. Then we deal with the primary and secondary channels. But they are not living up to expectation. In fact, we've been trying to call a stakeholders meeting. Only a few of them turned up. Because all the things you see in the secondary channels and primary channels come from our streets, where people are living, you know, in front of our houses. But we are managing it.
So my question therefore is, what work are you doing with Loma? Because their job obviously connects with yours. There are many people who throw
it's the environment.
It's on the environment. So, because I know the past administration was trying to privatize this issue of cleaning up the waste management. And there was an issue with that. What laws or what directives have you done to ensure that Loma is clearing every area that needs to be cleared on time? Because I know that Nima has complained several times that is in the neighborhood. They have to dump stuff all over the place because the Loma in some areas are ineffective. So how is Loma, what is Loma doing to make your own job easier of cleaning all the drains on time?
The capacity of Loma, I can attest to that, that it's almost impossible for you to reach every part of Lagos at the same time. But don't worry, you can't go to a remote part of Badagry, there are people who are there. And, but you can't reach every our attitude. We need to change. We need to change the attitude on how to deal with these things. And know how people are saying, a lot doesn't go that. When it is raining, people will go in the dead of the night. I went to inspection somewhere in Ajegunle. 2 3-story buildings, there. There's a canal behind there. That's where they dump all their refuse. When you're on inspection, they lock up their flats.
Houses.
They heat and run away.
In spite of a proper waste disposal place provided for them,
No,
or is it that there's nothing close to them?
Not get a dustbin. Get a dustbin. It should be able to buy it. Let's see your dustbin in front of your houses. And if Loma has not come, we know. Call their, you can call Loma. Their numbers are displayed, but they go the dead of the night to go and dump those things.
Inside the canal.
Even people who should know better are flouting this.
Is there any way we can hold
all those parts?
Ourselves more responsible by? So when you come to a place and you notice that the canal or the gutters are filled up, you find everybody living there that have houses there. Is there a way we can institute that? Because when they know that if their gutters are full, they will be fined by the government. They will not allow anybody to clear it. Is that
the way something you can do? You want them to flog them.
Sometimes what comes in front of your compound it's not you. It flows.
But you
but sometimes they put
responsible.
For your compound, you can put those like a basket, something like a sieve. You can put it in front.
We call it nets. Nets. So that you'll be able to take those things away.
Sometimes reblock it.
The fence. We went to Lagos International Airport. There's a canal that went into that airport. There's a big fence, massive fence. Do you know that these things pulled it down?
Yeah. Look at that.
It's heavy. Go and clean this thing tomorrow. If it rains the next day, you will still see this.
But sir, I saw something like this in Alaba International. It is the Alaba International market.
This
thing is terrible there.
I like to open our phone lines because there are scientific ways of doing this.
Yes,
recycling is ways we can do to reduce this waste. We've seen how people have done it.
We need to the PET bottles, are the biggest problem that we're having now. Yeah. But we need to put value to that. There's a company in Lagos that says, if you give me 1 kg, I give you 15 naira. And you know what it takes to go and those things. That PET bottles is so small. It's too small.
Before you got that 1 kg.
The last stakeholders meeting we had, I said, okay. I said, okay, let's put a value to this thing. If you raise it to about, say, 500.
Yes.
500.
Everybody,
you won't see this. Remember before, iron is everywhere.
Yes.
Car doors everywhere. You can't find anyone.
Because they are selling.
They have good values to eat. And people are now, if I'm traveling, if I'm going to the east,
it will not be sir, can it be a case of it cost us this amount of money to clear, but it will be cheaper if we fund people to clear it for us by them clearing and selling, where the government would encourage private sector to set up businesses to
It's in the pipeline. Because we have to deal with this issue of PET bottles.
Yeah.
It's in the pipeline.
Like in my estate, there are baskets, big ones on the streets where they collect these plastic buckets that were
Once
set up
you
by
have a
NGOs.
concentration of people somewhere, the next thing is they generate waste. What do you do with it? So it's a concern.
Okay, should this also be, so I know that there are countries that have used their waste to generate power.
Yeah. In University of Nigeria, Nsukka is the latest.
So is there anything you're doing to, either go
Lagos
to the
State.
schools, partner with the schools to do research on how you can use the one we have in Lagos State to generate power.
It's in the pipeline.
It's in the pipeline.
All these are
University of Nigeria and Nsukka just starting 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Got a plan.
University of
And
Lagos.
Tokwe, remember we went to the
Powered by
prison.
this waste.
They use methane
I
on
said
Yes.
we are going towards that. Every day is being debated to get values for these
From
things.
this.
Once you get values for these things, you won't see it again.
There's another.
People,
Let's go back to the issue
will
of the
take it as a
rains.
job to go and
Let's talk about the issue of the rain. So last year too, your commission was screaming, "Hey, rain is coming, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming." He did not say.
It's as if I felt that they seized the race, sir.
Yes, now I was like,
I felt
this
like,
rain that they were
is it
screaming.
true
Wait,
that they seized
let me finish, please.
The rainmakers.
Last year we made quite a bit of noise, and we all kind of geared up for this rain.
And
We
then
didn't see the rain. This one that they told you 261, I come and tell us again 261. Are you sure that you read this rain?
will
It's
come.
correct. This rain, man.
we rely on NIMET, you know. Sometimes, you know, it's not accurate.
The science is not
science is not 1 + 1, 2. But science works.
A Twitter.
And what they use to how they do those things, we don't know. But sometimes it works.
Okay.
Sometimes they will say it's going to be low and it will be high. Sometimes they say it's going to be high, it's going to be low. So it's
Maybe we
not
should get our own
there.
scientists.
Sir, is today your wife's birthday?
Yes.
A Twitter follower just says.
Happy birthday to Mrs. Igbokwe.
Dr. Mrs.
Doctor.
Igbokwe.
Hey.
My jewel of inestimable value. The only sugar in my tea.
No. This one is real. Please, I want to bring back to the markets. One of the things that I find, like growing up, I've always noticed that our markets are like they are like a dump site. They have massive dump sites, and we have not created a structure to ensure that the market cleans itself. So every market, go to Alaba International, go to Trade Fair, go to Lagos Island, go to Mile 12. Every market, you see a massive dump site, and yet you walk into the market and you still see piles of
But the
dump
markets
on
have
the
more
floor.
biodegradable dirt.
Yeah, the
Theirs is
local
not like
markets.
the
plastics.
The
banana,
trade
the
fair,
plastic.
trade fair is a bit cleaner. Let me even not put the blame where trade fair is actually a better organized market. The
Yeah.
trade fair,
So they have
complex.
people that take care
Internal,
of
yes. So why can't we put that
environment, you know.
in place in other
other markets across in such a way that the burden will not be on you to clear the drainages, but it will be enforced that they must create a system that cleans their environment.
Exactly.
Pipeline.
They are working on it. See the pipeline.
It's already working. It's already working. Major markets like Computer Village.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know community is
So-
really clean.
Those are structure. We're talking about my
we're talking
12
about-
market.
Yes.
That's
My
let me
12
take
market
it
is
Lagos
going
Island.
out of that place. It's going to Ikorodu. That market.
Please,
So
don't
with your
try.
Going to
collaboration-
Ikorodu so that we can
Why?
have very-
So, with your collaboration with the meteorological agency, NIMET, as you say, there's just talk everywhere globally about climate change and rising temperatures
Global
and how this
warming.
causes drought, flooding, you know. So we know in Lagos there's going to be even more flooding. We have people on Twitter who are saying that we have residential areas, now not the low-lying ones where people are living in slums, but they are talking of places like Banana
Lekki.
Island, Lekki. What is NIMET and the Ministry of Environment doing towards sensitizing people that live there? Are we going to tell these people that live in these huge mansions to live there, or what are we putting in place
They should get
to
a kayak.
protect them?
No, we are
Like it.
doing a lot, and it's not something you have to bring up every day. Like in Banana, Foursquare, that's estate, Foreshore.
Foreshore Estate, and Osborne.
Is below sea level. Some part
Oh,
of
really?
it is below sea level, and water don't go out.
Oh.
So we're moving to the age of dikes. That's what is called dikes. Concrete wall that will protect you from water. And it don't create a water retainer, a kind of big wall where this flooding will go in. After that, you now use pumps to throw it into the lagoon.
So that's also on the pipeline, I'm sure.
Yes, we have it.
Moving to
We have it in
Adebayo.
we have that issues in Dolphin Estate.
The pipeline
We have
is
that issue in Dolphin Estate, and then
Okay, so for sure. Okay, let's talk Adebayo. Adebayo, are you there? You're live. Go ahead, from Alagbado. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Yeah, I live around like this. I'm a share border with the state. What I notice is that these people around that area have money. So basically, you can catch each other.
I can't hear you.
It's not easy hearing you. Could you speak a bit louder?
Oh, it's too close to his TV.
Oh, Alagbado.
Somebody tried calling
that. Well, are you aware of Alagbado, the issue?
Alagbado is in Alimosho.
Yeah, the drainage in Alimosho. I think that's also Nima's area. Because they've always had issues with drainage, the waste management generally. And the fact that Loma doesn't pick up on time. But I hear that, according from Nima's story, Loma have tried to reach out to some of the communities to begin to pick up their drains, but their waste. But the problem is that many communities are still yet to be
Loma is doing a lot. We have about 5 or 6 dump sites in Lagos, Oloshoshmo, Agando, Ikorodu, Badagry, and Ekwe, 5 of them. And then we have transloading stations. Transloading stations in Agege here, and then one in Oshodi, and then one in the island. So what those transloading stations do is we push it there in the night because of traffic. In the afternoon, daytime, then in the night, dead of the night, then I'll start moving them to the dump sites. So that's what a lot of work. You have almost 25 million people here, and they generate waste on a market, and a huge market. Loma is doing a lot, but we need to do more.
Yeah, just
we need to
since we're talking about Loma, please let me also mention here, they tend to drop their waste as they
are going.
Yes, please, we need them to have better.
If you have a compactor, but when you use those open
so it drops
PSP.
I don't want to ask this question.
There's a way
the question in my mind, I don't want to ask, but I'm just trying to find a way to rephrase the question. Let me let you go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say,
I don't want to bring up old wounds.
Norman
Bring it on.
Norman needs to increase its capacity.
I think so.
What are you doing about
those guys that came before during Ambode's time.
Visionscape.
Vision what?
Visionscape, yeah.
Now, when a lot of people had issues with how it came about, we understand the issues you had, but they just seemed like they seemed like they knew someone. They knew that they knew the business of waste management. They came across to us, some of us. And these guys need to know, because if we compare them to the Loma trucks we see today, these ones are dilapidated. They should be off the road.
Sweepers.
Well, we have many of those trucks. You are thinking that
I don't see those ones.
And PSP people, there are people who buy it and then key into Loma. There's so many things. The other one that came, apparently we are overwhelmed by the amount of waste. You know, they're trying to make it look as things we have in London, in highbrow US areas, something like that, where people don't.
So instead of getting rid of them, why didn't we incorporate them to the waste management? That's what
we don't need to. We don't have to whip over.
And you told me to bring it down. Go ahead.
We can learn from that.
Whatever is happening in Lagos, whatever decision that is taken in Lagos is in the national interest or state interest of people of Lagos. It's not just done.
A political
we cannot see somebody who is prepared to do work and is doing it very well. And there's so many things that went to the
we trust that it was the right decision. Okay, very good. Let me take Charles and I'll come to you. Good morning, Charles. Are you there? Sorry, we lost that call. Yes, this is your top.
I wanted us to just also address each other, share concrete tips on tell our audience to take responsibility for the dirt within their area. Most of us get Saturdays, we still have environmental sanitation on last Saturdays, but most of us don't comply. We don't have any more.
It's supposed to be an everyday affair.
Yes. That's what caused it.
We don't comply with it.
They
were not doing it. So let's just
work clean.
When we had that day, right?
Yes, we're cleaning. Some places, some persons were cleaning.
The only group
I grew up cleaning.
Well, I know we grew up cleaning. Talking about today, nobody cleans on Saturdays. You sleep. The only people that I know that clean are on Thursdays, market owners. Those ones take out the environment to clean. But on Saturday mornings, we are all sleeping. That's the truth.
So what I think BC is trying to say is that when it was a law and a policy that you had to do it,
people
came out and it. But when you now made it a conversation, because we made a conversation, but this is it's a human rights issue. How can you stop people from going out and then we now let everything go?
But we should take care of our environment.
I've told you, if we all come out in front of our houses
and just clean
it, and everybody does that. Every tenement, all the tenements do that on a daily basis.
Daily. We
or
have to
just
go to
every
work,
2 days.
Just clean the
No,
front
it's
of your
just
house.
clean
You
the
must
front
clean
of
the
your
front-
house.
just clean the
And you
front
do
of your
your
house
own.
every
Then
day.
When I'm
you will
going to
have a clean
Yeah.
Lagos.
Yes.
One thing again,
Let's
be.
But
If every
if
man
you
cleans-
don't,
yes.
if you don't
Now
do that,
weekends is just the best.
if
You must
you
clean
don't
your,
do that,
don't you clean your house
Lagosians
daily?
leave their houses by 4
I'm not
a.m. to
think-
go to work.
Yeah.
Bisi,
Nobody
you
will
clean
come
your
home.
house
Another
daily.
thing we
I
need to
don't
also
clean
do.
it in the morning.
Another thing we need to do is tie our trash. We just
Yeah.
empty it and then that's how it flows around. If you tie it in a plastic bag neatly
Yes.
and dump it, you
won't
now have
scatter.
that spill all
Rats
over the
can
place.
eat it too and scatter it.
So you cover it, you cover the dump site.
Yes,
You
cover it.
trash and then cover your dump site. You have less of that.
the problem is with all of us. And I've told you that the major problem we are having is the tenements. That drains in front of our houses.
We need to work.
I agree.
Once we're able to make those drains in front of our houses clean, you can't find anything in the secondary channels. You can't find much in the primary channels. And you can't find much in the lagoon.
Even
So
traffic. I just
let us
remember.
take responsibility.
Leave traffic.
Leave
traffic.
traffic hawkers should be made to clean the floor when they at the
Please,
close
leave
of
our
work
plantain
every
chip
day.
sellers,
They don't
abeg.
stay
Because
one
they eat
by
plantain
ones
chips
that
and throw it on the
leave
floor.
chips.
We will drink
Plantain
water and
chips.
throw the bottle
They sell
outside.
to you. It's your
Yes,
responsibility
now,
to eat
it's not
and
the seller,
pack up in your
it's the
car.
seller.
Then,
alone.
if you are driving on the
passion.
Ikorodu road, people who even see no better, they are eating this, they are taking
Yes.
away, and you see them
throwing
throwing
it
it
away.
away.
It's not on the
You
sellers
can
now.
buy on the road and eat and
eat
trash
in
in your car.
Brian doesn't want them to stop the buying on the road.
You know, before the commercial buses, they have baskets inside
Yeah,
their buses.
before.
Now, we are not seeing it again, but
Implementation.
we
Needs
to
all
be
have to
enforced.
go back.
There's some things that makes Lagos different or Nigeria different. You know, the fact that you can buy, you can cook a whole soup
From the road.
Take a bath.
It is a very unique element of being in Lagos.
So you want us to preserve it?
Preserve it. Thank you very much. So is there any other things you want to tell us about?
No, I'm saying that we are working. So
A lot of things are in the pipeline.
people are coming into Lagos on a daily basis. You don't know the number.
Exactly.
They are coming into Lagos. This is the only thriving city in Nigeria, the fifth largest economy in Africa. So people are trooping in. And once people come in, you have refuse. You
Yeah.
have these things. You have traffic issues. We battle with traffic issues. We battle with this, we battle with that. So that is Lagos. So, but
Cool.
the problem cannot be forever. We are dealing with it head on. We are not restricting our steps.
Let's take a few tweets before we run off.
It goes, what you generate this year is not what we're going to generate next year, because
right.
people are coming in. So we need to be proactive. We need to be hyperactive.
Yes.
We need to think ahead of time, and that's what we're doing. We don't sleep
Let me
in the
address
nation.
this issue of people coming into the country, into the States. Because many of us travel abroad. It's a system you meet on ground that you adjust. You don't say because I'm coming from Africa, you now start dumping trash in the US. Because, so it's how we set our house.
That they will
those who
help
are
us
coming,
to
they will help
deal
us.
with
When
it.
they see that even was that trash.
My emphasis is on population. That's what
Same thing I'm saying now. We're not all moving to Canada and everything. Let's take people.
QMK Davida says, I once got investors from the UK to generate power from waste. Sent proposal to several states, but they won't deal. Part of the proposal was to collect the waste from the state for free, yet it did not fly. Forget this country, I beg.
Please, I'd like to stay on
Have you
that,
seen-
Mr.
yes.
Mariam,
Have you
because
had-
that's a very important tweet.
Bring it
There
on.
are many private sectors who have tried to come to your government, and for some reason, they don't get the reception from your government.
I believe that person is hearing me. Bring it to the Ministry of Environment.
Okay.
Okay, should he ask for you?
We know about it. It's already working in the University of Nigeria. So guys, we're working in various universities.
So what you're saying is that you are ready for private sector partnership. They can come to you directly.
Of course. A lot of them are working with us.
Because waste cannot be managed by the government by themselves.
Yeah,
They need private
cannot
partners
work.
to clear it. One of those are looking for contracts to come and clear it. They can come to you
Yeah.
to come and support. Because the people, Nigerians want to support your government.
Even
not,
people,
sir.
in some estates, people volunteer, get people to do it for them, clean up. So sometimes you take responsibility. You do these things.
All right, that's all we can
just
take.
to get the ambience that you need, and people are doing it.
Thank you.
And we encourage them once we see them.
So if you're a
we
private
encourage them.
sector,
Reach out to the Ministry of Environment.
you have an organization locally,
Bring it
international that
on.
can support.
Bring it on.
Bring it on. And don't forget, lots of things are in the pipeline. And
Yes,
very
this
soon
pipeline
the
is very, very
pipeline
full.
It's a very, very heavy pipeline. But we trust that the Lagos State government has our interest at heart.
Yes.
And they will definitely
course.
complete all the things in the pipeline.
Yes.
See you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye for now.